Hi! Alright, so in this video we're going to do a sample session of IFS so you can get an idea for it. And I'm actually going to read. So this is from the self-therapy book, the IFS self-therapy book, and I'm really just going to read this whole session. This is a really good example session because they get all the way through the healing process, which might not happen in every session. Sometimes it takes several sessions to get all the way through. And also because Christine, the gal who this session is for, she's already done some therapy and some spiritual work, so she's able to access subtle experiences within herself with clarity. So this is a really good streamlined session. So the therapist is Jay, and the client is Christine. She's a 50-year-old college teacher from the West Coast. She has two sisters. She's already taken an IFS class, and that's why she already has an idea of what it's like, so it goes quite well. Okay, alright, so we'll just start. And in this you'll get an idea of IFS and how amazing it is, and what can be possible with this method. Alright, so Christine starts the session by bringing up an issue in her life that she wants to explore. Okay, so Christine, I would like to work on how I get confused and distracted sometimes. Most of the time I am quite clear and sharp, but every once in a while I get fuzzy and confused. This often happens in situations where I need to have my mental acuity. Jay. Okay, so it sounds like there is a part of you that becomes confused at times. Does that make sense to you? Christine, yes. Jay. So let's focus on that confused part. How do you sense it in your body? Well, when it happens, I feel a slight dizziness and blankness in my head. In IFS, we don't analyze parts, we just talk directly to them. So that's why he's asking her to just go right into the sensation, the thought, the feeling, and then access the part. Jay. Okay. Check and see if you're feeling separate enough from the part to get to know it. So in IFS, you separate from the part so that your true self can talk to it and have a conversation. If the part is still blended with you, you will just be feeling what the part feels and you won't be able to talk to it. Once you're separate from it, then your true self, which is calm, compassionate, non-judgmental, will be able to hold space for the part and talk to it with non-judgment. And so that's the first goal, is to separate from the part. Christine. Well, I'm not sure. I think so. How would I tell? Jay. Do you sense it in yourself? Do you sense inside yourself a clear space from which you can connect with the confused part? I'm having a hard time telling about that. What was the question that you asked me again? It sounds like you may be blended with the confused part right now. So ask that part to separate from you so you can get to know it. So it seems pretty clear that Christine is currently blended. That's why she's feeling confusion and cloudy brain. That's a good indicator that you're not in self yet. Christine, okay. Well, now I feel a little better, a little differently, more solid or something. I actually see an image of the part as a cloud of smoke. Good. Check to see how you're feeling towards the confused part right now. I wish it would go away. I hate being confused. Okay. So that hatred and desire for it to go away are coming from another part of you. I understand why that part would want the confused part to go away, so you won't lose your sharpness. But approaching it from a place of hatred won't really work. Ask the hateful part if it would be willing to step aside so you can get to know the confused part from an open space. Whenever you feel anything besides curiosity and compassion towards a part, that's an indicator that another part has blended with you. And you can just ask it if it will step back and just observe and not jump in the middle, and then you can go back to just being in yourself, in true self. Alright, Christine. Sure, that makes sense. Okay, it's willing to. Jay. Good. How do you feel towards the confused part now? Kind of curious about it. Like, why does it do this to me? Christine now has accessed herself because she's feeling confusion, or not confusion, she's feeling curiosity and non-judgment. J. Okay, invite that part to tell you or show you more about what it feels. It says it feels sleepy and dull. I can sense it kind of goes blank. Okay, it feels dull and blank. Yes, it says, I want to go to sleep. I don't want to be awake or conscious. Sometimes I can't answer people's questions. J. Okay. Ask the part what its name is or what it would like to be called. Christine. I get the word confuser. Okay, so we'll call it the confuser. Ask it if what it's trying to accomplish by being sleepy and confused. We ask that question, like, what is a part trying to accomplish, or what is it worried would happen if it didn't do the job, so that we can identify what the part's positive intent is, because all parts have a positive intent, and it's to try and protect you from pain, and that's the reason why they're doing whatever job they're doing, even though it's never really helpful, but they're doing the best they know how to try and protect you from pain. And so we want to understand what the part thinks and feels, what is its positive intent, why is it doing this thing, because it's always doing it because it thinks it's helpful. Christine. It says, I don't want to see something. I don't want to know something. So this part has to just make unclarity and confusion and blandness. It wants to make sure that I don't know what is going on. J. It creates confusion to protect you from whatever is going on. Oh. You might ask the part how it creates confusion and not knowing. Various things. It internally changes the subject. It takes my attention away. It looks or acts very agitated, so there's no settling or landing in one place. It draws attention to itself and therefore away from whatever else was going on. All those things. Now the part looks like a person who is making magic signs in the air to create confusion and distraction. It's pretty common for a part, or fairly common for a part, to change its visual or its image as you get to know it better. So at first you saw a cloud, and now it's changed form and it looks like kind of a magician. J. Okay, ask the confuser what it is afraid would happen if it stepped outside and allowed you to see things. This kind of question serves a specific purpose. It tends to lead the inquiry toward the exile that is being protected. Because every protector, which is the one that's taking action, that you'll experience in your life, of like you get mad, you get confused, you get shy, those are usually a protector. And they're trying to protect an exile or a wound from getting hurt again, as well as protect you from feeling that exile's wound. So it'll always stand kind of in front of it. So when you ask, what is it afraid would happen if it wasn't doing this job, then that will help you understand what the exile is protecting. What it says is, this is Christine, what would happen is just unthinkable, unspeakable. It's so frightening we can't even go there. J. I see, so it is very frightened about this. Christine, at a survival level. Yeah, okay, so you might ask the confuser how long it's been doing this job. It feels like forever. How does it feel about this job? Oh, it's completely impossible. It's overwhelming, and yet it's unable to stop. Ah. See if there's anything else that part wants you to know about itself. I feel clearly that it does want my love and respect and gratitude for suffering on my behalf. And most parts want your acceptance and love and appreciation for having performed this work for you, but they rarely ask for it just directly. But it's always something, so it's something that's good to remember to give to every part you find. Because they all are needing it from having worked so hard. J. So what is your response to that? Christine. I do feel a lot of appreciation. Oh, so really let the confuser know that. I feel I can't even express in words how much I appreciate the degree of dedication and desperation this part has shown in doing this job. Christine is really moved at this moment. Jay, yeah, so really, you really get it, and how this part has been working so hard for you. How does it respond to you, saying and feeling that way? Christine, it's softening, and as it softens, I see one very clear thing. When I said earlier that it didn't know how to stop this job, that was because it had no connection with the self. There was nothing for it to release into or relax into. But now the confuser is softening because it does sense that I'm here. So this is really a moving part of the session where Christine is really connecting to this part. And often parts don't know that the self is there, that there's an entity or a part of you that has enough love and power to help and to be able to handle these jobs. And when they connect to the self, they're usually all relieved to not be alone anymore and to have someone who can help them. It's a very important step. Jay, good. Ask the confuser if it would be willing to show you a part that it is protecting with its confusion. Most protectors can't completely let go of their role until the exile that they're protecting is completely healed. So you want to ask for permission if they're willing to let you talk to the exile, and usually they'll step aside and just watch. And then once you've talked to the exile and healed it, then the protector will be able to let go of its role now that the exile is completely healed. Christine, oh, now I'm getting a glimpse of a panic state behind the confuser. Jay, check to see if the confuser will give you permission to get to know this panicked part. Christine, okay, it's not sure about this, it's very nervous. Okay, well you might ask what it's worried about. What is the confused part afraid will happen? The confuser is afraid that the exile will come rushing up and swamp me. Okay, so you might invite it to signal us in some way if it feels like the exile is beginning to swamp you, because we can keep that from happening. This protector can actually help us by letting us know if that starts to happen so you can return to self. IFS has techniques for helping a person stay in self, and if a part starts to flood you with their emotions, you can actually just ask that part not to. You can ask that part, can you show me your emotion, but only a portion, not so much that it will flood me and overwhelm me. And they do. They'll respect that, and so you're able to stay in self and keep being present and talking to the part. Christine, all right, it seems okay with that. Now there are all sorts of judgments coming up. I will be too slow, I will go meandering all over the place, and nothing will happen. So the first reassurance seems to have worked, that the confused part was really worried about Christine getting swamped, and so they were able to talk to the part and let it know, like, well, we could have a strategy for that. Just let us know if you think that she's going to get swamped, and we'll address it, if that happens. And so the confused part felt good about that, and then it shared its other concerns of what it's afraid could happen if she talked to the exile, that maybe she'll get kind of meander all over the place, and nothing will really be accomplished. So now they can address that concern that the confuser has. Christine, I'm telling the confuser that I can understand its concerns, but I don't think that will happen. We've tried things like this before, and I have shown myself to be helpful when given the chance. And you, Jay, are there as well to offer support, so I suggested to the confuser that it's a chance to find new territory where it can relax and not have to work so hard. So when a protector part is not comfortable with you talking to the exile, you don't just push past it and try to force it anyway. You keep talking to the protector until it feels comfortable. You never force, you never, are manipulative or abusive. So she keeps talking to the confuser until it feels comfortable with letting her talk to the exile behind it. J. Good. Okay, so how is it responding now? Christine. Okay, so these images are so funny. The confuser sort of sat back in a lawn chair and crossed its legs to watch what happens next. It's so funny. Oh my goodness. So the fact that the confuser sat back indicates to Christine that it's okay with this, and it's comfortable with her talking to the exile. J. Okay, good. Christine. So here's the exile. She's a very little and skinny and quite frail girl. It's interesting because I'm tall and strong, but she is in a little dress and she is quite vulnerable in her small, light little body. She's all knotted up in her throat and she's watching and on the edge of panic. You might ask this part what she would like to be called. I guess just the little girl. Okay. Ask the little girl what she is so frightened of. That she's going to be left alone in the dark and nobody will be there. It's so interesting, but now she is panicking and it's too much for me. J. Okay, let her know that it's okay for her to be scared and ask her not to flood you with all of that emotion, just a little bit, enough for you to connect to it. Christine. Oh, okay. I'm okay now. I don't feel too scared anymore. So that lets you know that the part agreed to not flood you, and so you're able to go back to self, or she was able to go back to self. It's good that she's allowed to feel panic, because otherwise she would go away if I had told her she's not allowed to feel scared or panicked. So this shows an importance of making it clear to the exile that she's asking, that separating from her, and please don't flood me, doesn't mean like you need to go away, or whatever you're feeling or your wounds don't matter. It's important to let the exile know that it's okay that it has feelings and you want to get to know it, and you can do that if you can stay separate from it. And if an exile doesn't understand that at first, you can talk to it about it and then it will understand. Okay, Christine. She likes that I'm here now. She actually sees that there is someone, the self, here, and she is surprised. And as soon as that happens, she calms down and just wants to talk to me. She's not charged with emotion anymore. Oh, okay. So she's more relaxed and open to you. So now that the part isn't flooding Christine, she's able to stay in self, and the self's presence of compassion and non-judgment is very comforting to parts, just to have someone present with them who's safe, who they can feel safe with. Christine. Yes, that's right. She's relaxed and she's opening up to me. J. What does she want to tell you? How hard it has been for her. How she's had to do it all on her own. And she's really frightened. She didn't know what was happening. Nobody was there. My impulse is to ask her what the situation was. J. Sounds good. Christine. I can see how my mind jumps in and says it was in the hospital when I was a baby, but I'm not sure. I want her to tell me. So that's good. She noticed her analyzing, her ego analyzing and trying to guess, what this part's wound is from or what this part's story is. But it's good to just get your information all directly from the part, because you never know. And we don't want to analyze or guess. We want to just find out exactly what the wound really is. Okay, so she is telling me it is dark and the lights are out and nobody loves her. Nobody's there, so that means nobody loves her.